Your final day of employment is today. On the morning of the 17th of March 2022, 800 P&O Ferries crew were called back to port. No manager walked in. A pre-recorded video told them they were all fired, effective immediately. Outside, coaches carrying replacement workers were already waiting. What unfolded became one of the most brazen corporate scandals in modern British history, and the company knew exactly what it was doing. For decades, P&O Ferries was a household name for holidaymakers and an essential pillar of British maritime infrastructure, operating key supply lines across the English Channel and the Irish Sea. Every single day, tens of thousands of passengers and massive volumes of freight relied on these vessels to cross some of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. Supermarkets, factories, and hospitals depended on the seamless movement of goods carried by P&O. Hauliers relied on these exact crossings to transport food, medicine, and manufacturing components between Great Britain, Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and mainland Europe. A disruption on these routes meant immediate cascading delays across the entire national supply chain. But by 2022, the ownership of this historic British brand had shifted. P&O was no longer governed by domestic maritime traditions. It was owned by DP World, a multinational logistics giant based in Dubai. Under this global corporate structure, the local crews who worked these treacherous waters were increasingly viewed through the cold lens of balance sheets and operational margins. When the crisis hit, it struck a major transport operator rather than a fringe employer, shaking the core of the nation's transport network and turning an indispensable public service into a corporate battleground. In 2020, the global pandemic crippled international travel, putting P&O's operations under severe strain. Passenger numbers collapsed overnight, forcing massive ferries to cross the Channel and the Irish Sea, half empty, sustained only by vital freight. Even with critical supermarket and NHS supply chains relying on their daily crossings, the bottom line took precedence. The financial toll was immediate. Year after year, P&O recorded losses hovering around £100 million. For DP World and P&O's management, these losses served as the primary justification for a radical restructuring. The board looked at the balance sheets and targeted their largest running cost, the directly employed British crews who had kept these essential sea lanes open for decades. To the decision makers, these experienced mariners, with their collectively bargained salaries and pension contributions, were deemed too expensive to keep. The proposed fix was a transition to cheaper agency labour, workers recruited from overseas who could be paid a fraction of the domestic rate. It was a cold mathematical calculation that completely bypassed traditional negotiation. While the pandemic-induced losses were real, it was this specific ruthless method of cutting costs that turned a business problem into an aggressive labour confrontation. On the morning of March 17, 2022, P&O Ferries ordered its entire fleet to return to port immediately. Crews were instructed to secure their vessels, clear all passengers, and await a major corporate announcement. A heavy silence fell over the ships. Many suspected something was wrong, but nothing prepared them for the sheer coldness of what followed. At 11 o'clock, instead of meeting a manager in person, 800 seafarers across the country were directed to watch a pre-recorded video. The clip lasted just over 3 minutes. A senior executive delivered a brief, scripted statement. Their employment was terminated with immediate effect, and today was their final day of work. In that single moment, the careers of loyal crew members, many of whom had given decades of dedicated service to the company, were finished. There was no prior warning, no notice period, and no union consultation. Decades of maritime commitment were erased by a pre-recorded video, leaving hundreds of workers stranded on the docks. The humiliation was immediate. Within minutes of the video ending, private security teams wearing balaclavas boarded the ferries. Leaked internal emails later revealed these guards were specifically trained in physical restraint with instructions to carry handcuffs onto the vessels. Loyal crew members, some with decades of service, were given just 2 hours to pack their entire lives into black bin bags. As they gathered their belongings, security guards watched their every move, making them feel like criminals on the very ships they had safely operated for years. Outside on the quaysides, the scale of the operation unfolded. Coaches filled with replacement crews were already parked and waiting. This sparked immediate tense standoffs at Dover, Hull and Larne, where shocked workers refused to leave their ships, blocking gangways in a desperate bid to protect their livelihoods. The administrative execution of a corporate plan had transformed into a hostile physical eviction. The arrival of the replacement crews exposed the cold economics behind the dismissals. P&O Ferries replaced its 800 British mariners with overseas agency staff recruited from countries like India, the Philippines and Malaysia. By routing these contracts through offshore manning agencies, P&O exploited a massive loophole in the National Minimum Wage Act. Because the vessels operated across international sea lanes and the workers were employed by foreign entities, the company bypassed the British legal minimum wage entirely. While the sacked crews had been protected by UK domestic wage floors, the incoming agency staff were paid a fraction of those rates. The RMT union revealed that some replacements received as little as £1.80 to £2.40 an hour. This drastic undercutting proved that the entire operation was driven by corporate savings. Long-serving British seafarers who had dedicated decades of their lives to maintaining these critical maritime supply routes were replaced by vulnerable workers paid pennies on the pound, proving that P&O's owners valued profit margins over basic human dignity. The political backlash was immediate, uniting MPS from all major parties in shared condemnation. On March 24, 2022, P&O Chief Executive Peter Hebblethwaite was brought before a joint parliamentary committee to face questions. What followed was one of the most astonishing public confessions in modern British corporate history. Under direct questioning, Hebblethwaite admitted that the company had knowingly and deliberately broken UK employment law. Specifically, P&O had bypassed the statutory requirement to notify the government and consult with trade unions before executing collective redundancies. He explained that because no union would ever have agreed to the drastic pay cuts, the company simply chose to skip the legal process entirely. The calculation was as cold as it was clear. P&O decided that paying millions of pounds in compensation packages would be cheaper than complying with the law. By treating statutory worker protections as a transactional expense to be bought out, the ferry operator effectively put a price tag on breaking the law, showing that financial expediency mattered far more than legal obligations. Protests erupted across the docks of Dover, Hull and Liverpool as outraged trade unions and local communities blocked port access. In Westminster, ministers threatened P&O with unlimited fines and demanded immediate investigations. Yet the systemic anger met a wall of legal limits. The Insolvency Service launched a criminal probe, only to quietly close it months later, declaring there was no realistic prospect of conviction under existing statutes. P&O faced no criminal prosecution for the mass sackings. The fleet kept sailing and the corporate leadership remained in place for years. While the scandal eventually forced legislative changes, including the 2024 Employment Rights Bill to curb fire and rehire tactics and close seafarer wage loopholes, the immediate cost fell entirely on the workers. When Peter Hebblethwaite finally resigned in August 2025, the 800 fired seafarers had long since been left behind. Today, P&O's vessels still cross the Channel, but British maritime labour has permanently changed. When global conglomerates treat laws as mere operating costs, accountability disappears. The water is calm, but the precedent remains terrifyingly clear. Share your thoughts in the comments.